Hi. So there was a lot of things in the first few modules or the first half of the semester that I learned, relearned, and got to go more into and understand it more. Starting off with the word ethics, for me, my definition was the way that people make decisions and go about their life. Um, Going further into this, it's not a set of rules, but it's more of as the more you grow, the more you understand things, which help and develop your ethics. What I learned from my peers with the word ethics was that they're somehow tied to morals, they're tied to situations and experiences that people base their ethics off of. Um, and like I stated, they're not set. They're one's inside rules, I guess, that they're learned first from our parents, and then from there we learn from experiences. We learn to develop and further go into ethics. For example, with me, the word trust or what it means to me, it was learned from my parents that you were to trust family members. But through learned experiences, I got to know that that wasn't true. So, um, because of that experience, ethically, I can't really, I guess, trust, fully trust family members, but learn to go and trust them. In the first official module, written communication, I came to understand more um, symbols and words and how they relate to each other and how they connect and they need each other. So, for example, the word green, the symbols would be grass, go, or can sometimes be referred to as good. Same would go with the idea and the concept. So the simple idea would be a computer, and then the abstract concept would be the things that make up the computer. Is what I got learned more and understood more in that first half of the module. And then I did pose some questions like, do ideas and beliefs create ethics, or is it the other way around? Do ideas and ethics create beliefs? And then for me, I think that beliefs are the same as ethics in a way, which they get made and are not set. So it goes back to the ethics definition of through learned experiences, we develop ethics and also beliefs. And going further into that lecture, judgments creating ethics, so deciding whether something is good or bad, or if this judgment, or it can be flipped around, is this judgment ethically good or bad? So in the second module, what I learned was two definitions, which was epistemology, which is the study of how we come to know anything at all, and metaphysics, which is the study of what is real or what exists. Going further into it, the word moral and ethics both equal social norms. The only difference is that one was Greek and the other one was Latin. And then it gave the definitions, three definitions of what ethics were. The ones that I closely relate to the most or go off of the most is the third, like I stated, I'm sorry, not the third one, the first one, which is ethics is a study of discipline which investigates judgments of approval, disapproval, righteousness, goodness, badness, virtue, uh, or wisdom of human actions, dispositions, ends, objects, and state affairs. That one, it mentions the words disapproval, righteousness, and goodness. As to the other ones, it only mentions one of those, and then the last one, it didn't mention it. And to me, ethics is deciding, um, having something good and knowing what is right. And then there was that part where it mentioned the 1 through 9 breaking down the word ethics. Um, the only one that I had to disagree with, that I don't incorporate into my definition of ethics in the universe, is the laws of our country, state, and municipal. I think to me, ethics is something that isn't written down or a law that we are supposed to abide by, and that if we break it, we will have a consequence. Ethics are, to me, are not written down, and what I put on into the universe in terms of ethics is something you can make something ethically incorrect. You probably won't get the same consequence as a law does. That's why I don't really agree with the fifth one. If you could say, going further into value judgments, which is ethics, the use of good or bad. And then the one that I got to understand more is subjective judgment. So it holds to the individual and not everyone else. That would be for the end of the second written communication. Written lecture. In the third module, there was a good explanation of what law really is, and that it's not really a person, but law is basically powered by humans. In that module, there was also the coherence theory, which is consistent with the truth. And then the one that stood out to me was the pragmatic theory. And then there was that question that stated if any of these are universal and not always apply to any different situation. I would have to disagree. For example, studying will get you a good grade. We know that is to not be true. Sometimes you do study the hardest and you still won't get that good grade. Um, that's my answer to the question that was posed. Before I move on to what I understood from the philosophers, I do want to say this. Uh, in this class, what I've learned and what I've put out into the universe, I do work at a call center. Um, and I do work in the fraud department, so I'm always dealing with people that are usually lying, not telling the truth. Um, in this class, the definitions that were posed by my peers, it has made me understand that sometimes people aren't ethically correct and aren't ethically making the good decision. So for me, I take it as not whenever they are lying to me, I don't take it personal because at the end of the day, I know that I am ethically doing my job and I am ethically being a good worker and setting the right standard uh, to my other coworkers and then to the people that I'm working with and to the people that are actually a victim of identity theft. So in both the readings and then the written lectures online, what I got from the three philosophers, the first one was Socrates, who just asked questions until you're stuck there kind of dumbfounded. Um, Plato and Aristotle, I understand that they were both about either achieving happiness or stating that happiness is what makes the person or have makes the person have a virtuous life. In Plato, I do want to mention the three goods and consequences, how I apply it into my life and then my work, like I mentioned with the fraud department. So, one of the examples is when they're calling in trying to get a phone or an account with credit, and we know it's fraud. It's good because for them, they're going to get the phones and they're going to sell it and they're going to make money, but the consequences is that um, they're eventually going to get caught and the consequences will catch up to them. So that would be something that is good. but that isn't valuable and isn't desirable at the end if you do get caught.